Okay, the case today is Barrington Island. Since you have this case with you, I can share my screen so I can see the case again. Again, we're talking about the idea of implementation of time-driven activity-based costing system. That's what the whole point is. So why those people want to do that? Because they receive a feedback which this system is powerful and can be used for their purposes. So what's the current situation? As you can see, this case also starts with the current situation. You can get some information here how to start your current situation. Current situation usually starts with where the company is located, what they're providing, what they're doing, and how the information should flow is you're giving a background in the very beginning of your report or your work that you have to provide is first you introducing the company. Once you outline what the company is, what the company is about, what's business should they working, then you can go with the mission and vision. Once you go with the mission and vision, identify the mission and vision of the company, then next thing that you're moving is the objectives, company's objectives. Is it going to be the individual objective for the shareholders? Is it going to be the owner's objective? Is it going to be company objective as itself? But everybody has objectives. Objectives, in other terms, is what's the goal? Because don't forget, if we don't have a goal, we cannot do anything with the managerial accounting. With the managerial accounting, we try to help the people to achieve their goal. Now, before we go to that way, how can we achieve the goal? We have to state what's the objective, what they want, what the owners want, what the company wants, what they want to achieve. So once we see what they want to achieve, then we start analyzing the company by using a tool which is called SWOT analysis. In that SWOT analysis, we're going to outline which are the strengths, current strengths and weaknesses in the company. And we're going to show the people and going to outline which are the threats and opportunity for that company. Keeping in mind the strengths and weaknesses are the short term or current, related to the current operation of the company. Opportunity threats are the long term. After that, you're going to the situational analysis in which you outline the financial performance. So now, can I see this one here in this case, even though they're writing here the case? Yes, you can. First, you're starting with the introduction of the company. Barrington Island, located near Reykjavik, Iceland, provide a professional cleaning, repair, quality checking textile company that outsource their workwear service. That's how you should start the Delta U assignment. Anyway, in outsourcing, the textile management has significant advantage, including what's the benefit, why they're doing this business, and then start explaining what's the nature of the business. So in the workwear service cycle is shown Exhibit 1, Barrington collecting the workwear at the company premises, then perform specialized washing and laundering processes. Afterwards, the ready for the use workwear was returned to the customer. In 2014, this company reported a negative number. And that's why we step in here to help them to find out who is this negative number, from where that negative number comes from. Let's make it a little bit bigger based on product portfolio. So now what they have is when they have this negative loss-making figures, textile depreciation has been seen a direct cost because depreciation was directly linked to the cost object, which in this case are the customers. Now they give you a little bit idea how the financial statements are prepared and how the elements of the financial statements, or in this case, the expenses, which are related to depreciation, are treated for this purpose. So is there anything that we can do about that depreciation expense? Obviously, there's nothing we can do about that. So next thing that they give you is the idea how the company actually works. They have a product portfolio, consider 6 garment types. So this is the type of the products that they able to service. 6 garment types, each of which own characteristics. That characteristic we can see in Exhibit 3. And the company serve 8 customers. Now the manager, Saictorson, used the standard costing model. Now we know what he's doing. He's doing a standard costing. What's interesting with the standard costing now? What we know about the standard costing? Well, just apply the entire costs based on something. Now, let's see how he applying the standard costing in this particular case. He using the standard costing to obtain yearly figures on the profitability of all the 8 customers. In the standard costing model, now let's see, production and distribution cost were allocated according to the piece process. So regardless what the cost is, depends on the how many pieces are processed for each customer, we are allocating production and distribution cost. That's for those 2 costs. Then we have sales administration cost expense. Those are not allocated to the customers, but they're included at the end of the costing process. Depreciation is allocated linked directly to the customers. So let's see what exactly they're doing. On the exhibits, we see the cycle. Second, we see the profit and loss statement. We have the revenue. We have textile depreciation, which is directly related to the customers. Product cost, which is allocated based on the number of the garments each customer giving to us through that circle of here, the circle of the operation. Second thing is the distribution cost, which is also allocated to the customer based on the single unit of garment that this company process. And we have sales administrative expenses, which in this case are common costs for the organization. We have the number of the garment, the type of the garments, and we have the uniqueness. What's the uniqueness? Uniqueness is in weight and the folding time. Every each of those garments has different weight and which require different folding time. Once we have this information, then we can look at the customers. We have 8 customers, number of the units. So based on those number of the units here that you can see for example, first one, 48. So that cost for the production and distribution is based on the number of units. So what we can do once we get the total cost divided by the total number of units, going to give us an idea how much is the production cost per 1 unit. And every time when you see 1 unit, they're allocating that cost. That's the standard costing that they're applying here in this company. As you can see, depreciation is allocated to the customer directly, since it's driven by the customer. Production costs and distribution costs are based on the number of units. Then they come up with this contribution. That will be contribution margin for the customer. And the last thing is sales administrative expenses. As you can see, that sales administrative expenses treated as a common cost for this company. Now, what we're seeing is that total contribution is not enough to cover the sales administrative expenses. We can also say the sales administrative expenses is kind of fixed cost. So the contribution that they're generating from those 8 customers is not enough to cover the sales administrative expenses. After that, we have this chart which tells you what kind of activity, what kind of items each of those clients which are here gives you. Also, what kind of activity they're using, repair, locker sorting, bags, deliveries, distances, everything. All the information based on the clients. So as you can see here, the first client, he is having 48,000 units. 48,000 units are 12 t-shirts, 24 pants, 12 sweaters. Next one has 60 units, that's 60 jackets. Now you see there's a difference between the types of the garment which each client has. So for that reason, those costs has to be distributed equally based on the number of units only. That's the question here. That's why we're doing this exercise. So let's go back to our case here and start digging more information. Now we understand how the costs are distributed based on the clients and how they're treating each of the costs. Now exhibit 4, which we just saw, which indicates that there's a client which reported loss-making contribution. So this client here, and only this client reporting $13,443. I'm going to stay with dollars. I'm not going to move to the euro. It's euro. Stay with the dollars. Because if you go to euro, then we can too complicated. You have to convert it to the US dollars and then convert it to the Canadian dollars. Too much. Stay with Canadian dollars. So they're saying is if we eliminate this client, that's going to solve our problem. The way I see it, that's not going to solve our problem. We're still going to be $2,000 below. But let's see what they're suggesting.
I have a quick
Yes,
question though.
go for it.
So for the currency, you want us to change it to USD, right? Not convert it to USD.
No, yeah. You're not converting to anything. The way it is, you just change.
Change. Okay.
So instead of here, you see it says euro. You're not seeing euro. You're seeing dollars.
US dollar, right?
Yeah, US,
Oh,
Canadian, whatever you like. No, let's stay with Canadian dollars because then you can say, but we have to convert US dollars into Canadian. No. Stay with our local currency,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
Same numbers, just changed here.
Mm,
That currency identifier, change it
Okay.
to Canadian dollar. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking. Here, every time when you see euro, it's not euro, it's
Mm,
Canadian.
mm.
Make sense?
Yeah. Thanks.
Again, the exercise is not about the currency. If it's foreign currency operation, which we have to translate all the statements into the other currency, then we can use this example. But in this case, that's not the objective here. Stay with the objective. Objective is we to find something here. What we're going to find is, so let's see here. And once we see that this particular client doesn't make profit, Torson concludes that the customer caused the loss for the company. So if we eliminate that customer, we're going to solve our problem. But before, due to that, he consulted with John's daughter, the business control administrator. John's daughter was not in the favor excluding the customer based on the standard costing system. Instead, he proposed the time-driven activity-based costing model. Saitoson agree with John's daughter proposal and put him in charge of the pilot project to develop a time-driven activity-based costing. So where we are John's daughter. We are the John daughter. And we are the one who in charge of this project to develop time-driven activity-based cost model. John's daughter started gathering the necessary information. First, what we have to do in every activity-based costing, first we have to get the information to set up the activities, set up the cost pool for every activity, come up with the cost per activity, and start applying that cost every time when we use the activity. That's the whole idea in activity-based costing. So let's go with first. First, he analyzed the resources of the activity and he identified that two departments that drive the cost. production department, distribution department. Okay, so now what we have to do in each those departments, we have to identify what kind of activity we have. Before we do that, we have to see what's our capacity. Capacity means that what kind of resources we have under each department. Since we're a service company and servicing those garments, our only resource is humans. So the question is how many humans we have. We have 5 people in the production department. So now you start drawing production. Production, I have 5 people. Now, 4 working full time, 1 working 60% of the time of the full-time equivalent position. So what we have to find out how many hours give you 1 full-time per person. 60% of that time is going to give you that part-time position person. Each year we have 20 working days a month. So 20 working days time, 12 months going to give you something. And the employee work 8 hours a day, which including 30 minutes break. If the 30 minutes break included the 8 hours, we have to deduct them because we're not going to pay them for the break. Also, we have idle time. We're eliminating the idle time. So basically what we're chasing is the effective time that we have available based on the capacity of the humans that we have. And you have to come up with some dimension to measure that capacity that we have. So once we have that one, from this 1, 2, 3 sentences, you're getting the resources that you have available. Now, once we have on one side, we have the resource. On the other side, we're going to have the usage of that resource in this production department. In the production department, now we can divide it into 2 main processes. So in this department, we have 2 main processes. One is washing, the other one is folding. Now, again, we are still in the process, but we're chasing activities. What kind of activities we have in each of those processes? And next sentence tells us about that. So we have sorting activity in the first one, and we have loading activity in the second one. Now, that's for the washing process. Let's go with the folding process. What kind of activity we have that? I'm writing those for myself. Better suggest you to write those for yourself too. We have the following activities. We have repairing. Second, we have folding and packing. That will be one activity. And the third activity that we have actually is the folding. The folding and the packing is the third activity. I told that folding and packing is one activity, but they're not. Folding is one activity, packing is the separate activity. So do we have 5 activities? Sorting, loading, repairing, folding, packing. Yes, we have 5 activities. Okay, so next thing. Now we have to see what kind of resource each activity using. Sorting, the spoil garment, sorting of the soil garment took 2 seconds per piece. Some customers were known to frequently leave items in the pocket, such as pens and screwdrivers. Garment of those customers were checked truly, resulting in additional second per piece. So now we have the dimension, the driver. So we have the what kind of how we're going to measure the resource. We have the seconds. We have the number of the seconds that we need, and we have the driver that drives that time for that particular activity. So what's the what can I say? What's the usage of the source is 2 seconds. What drives that's 2 seconds? Every piece. The question is, do we know how many pieces each client has? Yes, we do. So can we calculate how much time we need for sorting to, to service our clients? I'll leave it to you. Next one. We have to do the same thing for the loading and uploading. Since those are one activity, loading and uploading, that's one activity. Now we have to load and upload the washing machine and dryers. That's related to 8 garment types and took 7 seconds per kilogram. So do we have the garment types? Yes, we do. Do we have the weight of the garment type? Yes, we do. Do we know how many garment types each customer has? Yes, we do. What we have to do, once we have those 3, apply the resource that we need to service that particular activity for that particular client. And see what's the total resource that we need to service all the clients. Next activity, repairing the garment took an average 3 minutes. So what we have to do, we have to see which client has repair, and if he has the repair, we have to add 3 minutes to that client. Folding the garment was heavy time consuming. Time measurement review the different folding times for each garment. So what we have to do, we have to go to that exhibit with the garment and see how much is the folding time for each of the garment types. And then we have to calculate how much resource we need to service those clients that we have. Packing. The clean garment took minimum of 3 seconds per piece. If the customer require locker sorting, 5 additional seconds per piece. So we have to see which customer actually require locker sorting. And the customer might also want their garment to be individually packed in the plastic bag. If that's happened, adding another 10 seconds per piece. So the objective here is to find out how much time we need for the production department for those 5 activities to service all our clients. And then compare the time that we need to service our clients with the time that we have available from our employees. That's the objective here. We have to do the same thing for the other departments, distribution department. Now, first paragraph is about the available resource. Distributor department. We have 3 drivers. 1 driver work part-time for 1.5 days per week. Either you can go as a percentage, you can go with the 1.5 days per week. So what we have to do is, as a production department, each year we have 20 working days per month. Driver work 8 hours with 30 minutes break. Now the idle time here is 15%. So once you have this, you can come up with the time for 1 person. You can come up with the time that taking for 1 day. And then you come up with the time for the people that you have available on the this department and how much time these people can actually give you during the period, which in this case is 12 months, which magically happened to be 1 year. Once we have this, then we can start chasing what kind of processes and what kind of activities we have in this department. First, we have 2 processes. We have driving and we have delivering. Now, for the driving process including loading and driving activities. So here we have 2 activities. Delivering process comprised of delivering and locker sorting activities. So in total, we have 4 activities here. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4 bullets, 4 activities. 2 for the driving and 2 for delivery. Driving, we have, again, loading, and then we have driving, 1 and 2. And delivering, we have delivering and locker sorting. Okay, we have our 4 activities. Now we have to see how much time we need to service our clients for that particular activity for the entire period. So, wait appeared to the most appropriate time driver for the loading a truck. Interview with the driver suggested that it took an average 5 seconds per kilogram to load the truck. Now, based on the number of the units that you have under each customer, based on the weight for that unit that we have, you can come up with the total kilogram for customers and you apply the resource that you need to provide this activity. Next one, due to the Iceland geography, travel time to and from the customer were considerable. It took in total at least 1 hour per delivery to arrive and return from the customer's location. Several customers were located particularly in distant area. It took 75 additional minutes per delivery. So you have to see on the chart which one is those clients and apply every time when you see activity for that with the driving, delivering, you have to apply those time. Next activity, now we're moving to the second department and activity first the activity was delivering. For delivery to a customer lasted a minimum of 3 minutes. Time spent delivering the garment was predominantly related to be the delivered weight. So again, the weight is the one. In addition to initial 3 minutes, an average of 7 seconds per kilogram was needed. If a customer requires locker sorting, driver spent 20 seconds per piece on sorting. And now, Saiterson and Jones Doritz could now start the time-driven activity-based costing calculation for each customer. Individual customer characteristics was obtained reviewing the customer setting on the enterprise resource planning database and questioned the staff. Information was collected in the data of the warehouse. Now we have to see Exhibit 5, which is the Exhibit 5, which gives us clear picture which of those activity under the production and distribution department are used by each client and what's the nature of all the services that we're providing to these clients. And that's where we stop. I'm going to stop right here. And that's where you're starting working as a group. So the objective is to find out under each department how much resource you have available and how much resource you need to service your clients for the same period that you find out what's your resource. Now, probably you're kind of sensing that I'm not teaching this course first semester. This is not my first semester. Most likely it's not my second semester. Probably it's not my third semester. For that reason, I have to tell you embarrassing situation that I'm seeing, that I have seen with the other groups before you. And those situations are related to people finding on the very helpful internet resources which help you only to get lazy and to get not to do what you're supposed to do with your brain. They're finding very interesting solutions of all this what we're talking right now. They copy and paste it, and after that showing it to me says we did this. The only problem is if you do that, you cannot explain it. And if I sense that that's what you're doing as a group, that's fine, but I'm not going to explain anything to that group, and I'm just going to pass that group, and not going to make any comments until you submit your work and comes to the marking. So for that reason, please sit down and do the calculation by yourself. I know there are some very helpful websites which are concerned. One thing that you should know is that all the sites that you can find this information are publicly listed, and they're making money from every each of you. So if you have enough money to feed the other people and you don't want to exercise your brain, please feel free to do so. They'll appreciate your financial help, and I'm sure they're gonna spend your money in the very good way. But I strongly suggest you again, instead of giving your money for the other people to spend and enjoy your money, you enjoy your money and at the same time learn something by doing this exercise uh, by yourself. Your benefits will be double. First, you're gonna end up with money, and second, you're gonna end up with knowledge, which you can use later in your life by going through this calculation. So I'm gonna leave you. You already give you enough help with posting the Excel template. You can find it in Brightspace. Now I'm gonna set you back in the groups, and I want you to go to the groups and start doing your calculations. Again, I'm gonna go over group by group and gonna give you feedback on your assignment, and then I'm gonna bring you back to give you some ideas about the midterm, which is gonna happen after the Christmas break, and we should be done for today. Questions? So on the midterm, there will be questions on the transfer pricing. There will be questions on the management control system. There will be questions on the balance scorecard. And there will be questions on the company organization structure, centralized versus decentralized. And there will be question about performance of the investment center. What I'm chasing on the investment center is return on investment and residual income. What I'm chasing on the transfer pricing will be minimum and maximum transfer pricing and how to better to negotiate the transfer pricing. Also, there might be a question on specific questions about the management performance and how to improve the management performance. So what I'm chasing here is you to come up with ideas, which of the tools can we use to motivate the managers to work in the best interest of the company. Obviously, that's one of the tools that we have is the transfer price. Then we have short-term, long-term incentives. You can give them more responsibility. You have the responsibility centers. Anything that comes to your mind. On the management control system, I want you to be focused on the elements of the management control system, what you have under each element of the management control system, and how we're using those one. Also, I'm gonna put few questions, multiple choice questions about the ethic, and I can even probably gonna come up with some scenario on the ethical problem. I want you to get that sense that there's always ethical element. So for the ethical element, what I want to do is probably there'll be once it's a question, it's going to be clearly indication what you have to do. Basically, to identify the parties which are affected, how those parties are affected, and what's the potential or possible outcome for those parties, and what you're going to suggest. I wanted to see your personal opinion on the problem. Obviously, there will be no right and wrong answers on those one when you have to comment. So you don't, as long as you justify yourself and using the right type of analysis, you can go for it. If you have to do analysis, if the question asks you to do analysis, don't forget the analysis that then probably is going to be chased will be positive and negative analysis, advantages and disadvantages. So once you do the analysis, don't forget to finish with conclusions because the conclusion and recommendation is the one that's going to give you the highest marks. That's my idea about your midterm. Again, there will be a calculation part. So how can I say? Don't get confused that there will be no calculation, even though we don't see much calculation so far. But there will be calculation on the transfer pricing. So the only calculation that I'm chasing here will be the transfer pricing and return on investment or residual income when those are applicable. The next thing that I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to post you some questions that may happen on the midterm. And I'm going to give you, once I do that, I'm going to send you announcements. So basically, that will be direct email to you with where the questions are, where you can find them. It will be posted by the end of this week, so you can have next week to prepare yourself. Make sense?
Yes.
So what I want you to that's about it. That's about the midterm. Midterm will be in class. It's gonna be on the paper. You have to write, and you have to answer the questions, and you have to fight with those questions. Bring yourself calculators, please. Do you want me to bring you calculators?
No, you're good.
Very good. But I don't want you to use your cell phones as a calculators. Or you're gonna tell me, don't worry, we're not gonna choose ChatGPT during the exam. Is that what you're telling me? Okay, if that's what you're telling me, then I'm trying to buy it. So again, it's kind of interesting situation with the changes in this course, but we're moving to this format now with the exams. So again, I had this conversation with the students when the teacher talking, and the midterm coming, and suddenly they see the question and say, "Where this come from now?" I don't want you to be in that position. That's why again, I'm gonna post your questions, which might be looking similar to what you're gonna get on the midterm. So you won't be completely in the dark. But I think I already gave you enough ideas what's gonna be on the exam. Questions? If you ask me how many multiple choice questions, they'll probably will be between 20 and 2 hours. No, I'm gonna use more than 2 hours. I'm gonna try to keep you busy for more than 2 hours. I don't want you to be that to waste only 2 hours.
So would you provide sample questions on
Yes,
the
yes.
problem?
I will provide the sample questions on the Blackboard, and as soon as I do that, I'm gonna send you email
Okay.
where you can find those sample questions. Yes, you won't be in the dark. I don't like to be in the dark, so I don't like to. I know how is that feels when you're in the dark and you're going somewhere, you don't know what to expect. That's not going to be the case with you. Don't worry.
Any cheat
Should
sheets allowed?
no. You can focus on both. On both, on the theory parts, you can focus on both. Any other questions? I'm not sure how well that answered the question, Christine, but I know it's kind of which one both, right? Which one should I focus more? Both. I mean everything. But again, once it's posted the sample questions, you're gonna see you're gonna get a sense, at least for the questions that you have to do. No, it's not gonna be only theory based. And they're gonna be again, there'll be calculation questions. And the calculation questions will be related to the transfer pricing. It's gonna be calculated return on investment, focus on the residual income. So know how to calculate those one, please. Yes, sample questions. Sample questions will have sample answer. Yes, they're gonna have a sample answers. Yes, but I don't expect simple answers on the exam. Try to elaborate as much as you can. But again, I'm gonna try to be as explicit as possible on the questions that I'm giving you in the exam, so there'll be no to avoid any confusions after. For the sample questions, there'll be an example of the multiple, just a short answer. I might give you some example of the multiple choice questions. But listen this, once you see sample of the multiple choice questions, those questions not gonna come on the exam. That one I can assure you. Any other questions? Okay, if there's no other questions, CPA booklet we receive in class should be our main resource for study. Case-based problem sample questions should be as well, right? Yes, simple case. Yes, a very simple explanation cases. Yes, you should expect something like that. I want your managerial thinking on those one in elaboration with the part of the analysis. Those CPA cases that I give you, yeah, booklets that I give you, yes, I'm gonna rely. You can rely on those one to the extent of the knowledge that you get from them and examples for the transfer pricing. But that's not going to be my main source of the questions. That's why I thought Christine when she asked me should I rely on the CPA or on the slides, both. Okay, if you have more questions, please send me email. I'll try to respond all your emails that you're sending me. And again, wait for the sample questions. Once you see the sample questions, you're going to get idea about the exam. So now I'm going to put you back in the rooms. And I have to go and talk to group 3 and group 4. So if you want to spend more time on the calculation, spend more time on calculation. If you want to take off for the groups that I already see, you can take off. It's your decision at this point. And then jumping right in group 4 first. Group 4.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Group 4. That's from the movie. What was that? The movie called.
I think you're still recording.
Am I?
Yeah.
Let's stop it.